We are live, back with a Thursday edition of Your Wildest Fantasy
Oh yeah,
football show. Cody, how was your off day?
my off day was fantastic. Just living life and enjoying the sun. What about you?
Good. I mean, I had a great day. Nice little trip ski out. Went to New Hampshire, enjoyed the New Hampshire lifestyle, which I'm not sure what that means, but I think I was living it. So,
I. It sounds like you were living it up.
yes. We hope you all enjoyed your off day as well. But now it's back to work. We have a football game tonight.
Oh
We have
yeah,
a ton of football this weekend we have to get to. We have a ton of injuries we have to get to. But first, there was another important thing, very important thing, that happened on our off day. Cody, you are a fan of a certain NFL organization, correct?
yes,
And that NFL organization would be
my Vikings.
Minnesota Vikings.
Yes, sorry.
Now, yesterday there was news that the Zodiac Killer, infamous Zodiac Killer, was identified.
He did become identified yesterday
Yes, he did. And
for the first time.
for the first time, yes, they did. Not that they would identify him for the second time. This was the first time they had identified him.
Correct.
And he, on his, I think it was like one of his profile pictures on socials, he's wearing a Vikings hat. So
Right.
is likely, as many who wear a hat of their team, that he would be a Vikings fan. I want to ask, like, does this affect your allegiance to the Vikings, knowing that, like, it's also kind of aligning you with a serial killer? One of the worst serial killers.
I don't know. I mean,
I know it's a tough choice.
It's a tough choice, but
Murderer, Vikings.
Right. I mean, honestly, I think I just have to continue to support the Vikings. You don't stop supporting the Patriots because Tom Brady cheats. I don't think you stop supporting the Vikings just because.
The Patriots also had some things going on there.
Right. They have their own problems to worry about.
May or may not have had to do with murder. But I'm not a fan of either of those organizations. So I can hold my head highly knowing that I am as far away from any death as possible with my organization.
I mean, not all the way. You have Carson Wentz. He's the franchise killer, so
Oh, that's just mean. I don't know that we had to go to that. That's just rude. I don't know. I think
I keep it 100 on this podcast for the people.
I think I'd rather have. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think we can do polls, but would you rather have a franchise killer on your team or an actual killer? Is a fair question.
Hey, there's no Viking that's ever killed anyone. Okay,
that's true. That is true. Just a fan in the Vikings.
Yeah, just fans.
Well, we got to the Patriots thing, and then that was a whole different story. But okay. And then my second question is, although they did identify this man, he has his hair pushed back. Can you take off your hat? Okay, he has his hair back, like kind of comb backwards. He wears glasses.
He does.
And he is a Vikings fan. Now, this guy that they alleged the Zodiac Killer to be passed away in 2018. But all those signs plus a Vikings fan point back to maybe not someone on this show, but maybe someone on this show.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just want to make that clear.
Right. I mean, who really knows?
Started off. Well, I'd like to think that it's not you.
I'd like to think it's not me either. But...
Okay. Let's just leave that at that.
Yeah.
Before we get into too much trouble.
Not enough trouble.
And before we get into the game tonight, let's talk about this long list of injuries for the week. I'm going to just kind of roll through it. I'll bring up some interesting ones. I think the only real interesting one that we need to talk about is one that could influence the game tonight. But first up, Zeke did not participate. He was having like some knee discomfort, but he's likely to return today. He's actually participating in individual drills. We will see later in the day if he participates in team drills. The same thing with Amari Cooper, who's dealing with a hamstring and rib injury. Bridgewater did not participate on Wednesday, but he's progressing well. Good sign for anybody having Broncos players on their fantasy team. Jimmy G did not play, but he is questionable for the game, and they say that he's also progressing better than expected. Monty, we already know. David Montgomery out for 4 to 5 weeks with that knee sprain. Cody predicted it. No big deal.
Yeah.
Mixon did not participate on Wednesday. He's expected, according to Zach Taylor, to work his way. I believe it was Zach Taylor. It might have been a beat reporter. I don't want to misquote there. Expected to work his way back into the mix as the week goes on. Mix on. The offensive coordinator did come out today and said if Mixon doesn't play, it's going to be a backfield by committee with Pirine and Evans. If you are in a situation where you have to start somebody in that backfield, does that make you hesitant at all? Because I know I'm still starting Pirine and only Pirine if I was in a situation where I had to start one of these guys, and it doesn't really affect my thoughts on Pirine that much.
Right. Evans is more involved in the pass game, I feel. He only played in 2 games, but got 3 catches. Pirine probably is going to be the guy I want to start. I feel like he will get most, if not all, of the actual running plays. And Chris Evans might just come in for a couple passing down situations. But I think it's going to be Pirine for the most part.
And we've seen Pirine catch the ball too, so it's not like he's going to come out on all pass catching opportunities.
Right. He can't catch it. He's 3 for 4 this year. He's out there during pass plays. But I think it's going to be fine. Obviously you have 3 young, talented wide receivers. You got a nice tight end, Newsman. I just think you're fine, starting Pirine, because the passing game, the defense is going to have to worry about 4 pass catchers already. Pirine could sneak in and grab a couple. And plus, he's an NFL caliber running back, so he will be fine.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about him as we learn about this Mixon injury and see if it'll keep him out, because there's a good possibility that we don't even have to worry about it. CMC, according to Matt Rule, looked really good in his return to practice on Wednesday. Could be a game-time decision. Great thing for CMC owners. Gronk did not participate Wednesday. Arians unsure when he'll return. He's expected to miss week 5. Adam Schefter reports, but he's not likely to miss more than that. Gibson did not participate yesterday. Participated in individual drills today. Edmonds did not participate yesterday with shoulder injury. Big Ben was held out of practice with a hip and pec combo. Not quite the glute and glute and ankle?
It was, I can't remember. Sorry.
It was something to do with the glutes.
Gluteus maximus.
Not quite to that level, but Ben is expected to play. Dalvin did not participate with an ankle. We expect that just to be maintenance. Obviously, we'll learn more from all these guys in the practice reports today. Shepard did not participate. Neither did Darius Slayton. Our head coach, Joe Judge, said that today is going to be a big indicator for whether they are able to play this weekend or not. Kittle did not participate with his calf injury. Not really any big concern there yet. Claypool returned in limited fashion on Wednesday from his hamstring injury. Logan Thomas was put on IR because of his hamstring injury. They did sign Jace Sternberger, a former Green Bay War. I'm not sure that that's fantasy relevant yet, but something to keep an eye out on.
Probably not.
No, not yet. I don't doubt Jay Sternberger, though. T. Higgins, limited participant shoulder. Good to see him return to practice. And in Tennessee, A.J. Brown was back at practice, but Julio did not participate. Cody, I'm sorry. That's tough to see.
I'm fine with Julio getting another rest day.
Yeah, he's just been stacking up rest days of late.
I mean, depending on how today looks, that will be a big indication. But
are you panicking on Julio, or you sound pretty calm?
I'm fine with Julio right now. He's kind of. I'm gonna put him in the Michael Thomas category right now.
I think that's ridiculous.
Well, Hear me out for my reasoning before you get like all crazy about it. Michael Thomas hasn't played yet. He's going to be going to the team that has, like, what are they, third lowest in pass yards as a team so far?
Pretty bad.
Something like that. Jameis Winston, I believe, has 600 pass yards through 3 games or 4 games, whatever. Just not superstar stats. Titans have been passing it. Julio is on a new team, new system. So I think he will be a second half of the season stud, much like Michael Thomas will be for people who drafted him. Jameis Winston, 613 pass yards so far.
I think one reason why he has that little pass yardage is that, one, they have Alvin Kamara, and 2, they don't have any receivers. I think that's the big difference from New Orleans to Tennessee, is that he is the guy. Like Michael Thomas, there's no other guy that's going to get in Michael Thomas's way for work. Where I think in Tennessee, you obviously have A.J. Brown, who is, in my mind, their number 1 wide receiver. And you can say, and I feel pretty confident you're going to say, he hasn't performed up to Julio's standard in that like one game where Julio had a good game and A.J. Brown hadn't really had a great game yet, but he's still getting targeted a ton. I'm not worried about him in comparison to Julio. I think he's going to be the number 1. I don't think Julio's going to be bad, but I think the upside with Michael Thomas is just insanely more higher. That's bad English, but
that's terrible English, and I disagree.
But
Michael Thomas is going to a team, or going back to his same team, but he'll be coming in later, coming off injury, coming off of the
so would Julio.
What?
So would Julio. A fresh injury with Julio, who hasn't had surgery to deal with it. Not that he needs surgery. But.
Not that he needs surgery. You're right. You lost my train of thought. Oh.
I apologize.
But I think it's a new quarterback for the Saints. It's a new quarterback for Julio. I don't think that Deontay Harris or Callaway are the caliber of players as A.J. Brown yet. They could be. A.J. Brown's having a terrible year.
It's absurd.
Are you telling me if Callaway goes off this year for
if Callaway was going to go off this year, he would have already gone off.
I don't know. It's hard to go off when your team has 600 pass yards and you only.
Well, it's hard to throw the ball when you're throwing it to Marquez Callaway.
You only threw it 86 times though. They've thrown it 90 times as a team through 4 games. I mean, they don't even have 300 pass yards of Kamara or rush yards of Kamara, but they're just running a bunch of people. Obviously, they have almost as many rush yards as they do pass yards. I'm saying that if this team continues its trend of running it just barely behind how much they're passing it, Michael Thomas is not about to just explode in whatever 9 games that he plays for 1,000 yards. I think Julio could easily get 1,000 yards too. So that's why I put them in the same back end of the season once they get their shit together. I don't think it's crazy.
12 games that he plays.
12 games.
Actually,
he gets off the IR.
Yeah, 12 games because they have their bye week before he comes back.
They have their bye week in week 6. So
he's slated to come back in week 7. Now, you did mention you're talking about a team in New Orleans that is throwing the ball just a little bit more than they run, right?
I said they have barely more pass yards than they have 613 pass yards and 531 rush yards as a team.
What are the splits on that for Tennessee?
Tennessee? Give me a second.
I imagine Tennessee is not much different.
Okay, Tennessee, you're right. It's not much different. 655 rush yards, only 1,054 pass yards. Obviously, it's a lot different. Really? They're passing it more, and they have the truck Derrick Henry back there who has 510 rush yards already. There's a huge discrepancy because Tennessee has passed it almost twice as much as the Saints.
Okay.
151 attempts to 86 attempts. So close, not really. Well, kind of close. But that's why I'm saying Julio, just based off of team script so far this year, unless the Saints are about to just completely 180 this from how they've been playing it for the first part of the year, Julio could have very similar second half of the season comparisons to Michael Thomas.
I don't think so, but obviously we're not in agreement on that, and I don't think we're going to be in agreement on that.
No.
I just think the opportunity is much bigger with Michael Thomas being quite literally the only wide receiver option that's like above average in that group, in my eyes. But we'll agree to disagree, and we'll see how it works out in the rest of the season. Yeah. As for an issue that will play out today,
Rams
and Seahawks.
I love the Rams. Baby.
Cody, I did not get, in full disclosure, I was not able to work on these banners today. So Cody did the hard, grueling work of setting these up, as maybe you could tell. Who knows?
What do you mean? What's wrong with it? Rams, Seahawks plus 1.5 over under 54. That's perfectly clear.
If you think that says Seahawks, then you can say you think it says Seahawks. But I don't think that's what it says at all. It's a good try, though.
Yeah. For people who can't see it because they're listening, I spelled Seahawks wrong. Seahwaks is how I spelled it.
Can you try to pronounce that? Because I feel like you would be able to do it well.
Seahwaks. It's
I think it would still be C. I think you changed it to C. No,
there's the H there. It's Seahawks right there. It's
No, but you changed, you said Seahawks. So you changed the first part that's still C, and you didn't change the Hawks, which you misspelled.
Right.
That makes no sense. Okay. I think it would be Seahawks. Seahawks.
It just sounds so good.
So I don't know about that. It is the Rams versus the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. Very good Thursday Night Football game.
Oh yeah, should be a shootout.
Unfortunately, we have some injury news to report for this game, with Chris Carson questionable for tonight, expected to be a game time decision due to a neck injury that kept him out of practice this week. I saw a statement from Pete Carroll, courtesy of our friends at Fantasy Football Degenerates podcast. Shout out to them. I don't know if they know that they're our friends, but in my mind, we're very much friends. Pete Carroll said he's got a long-term kind of I guess it would be condition that flares up sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. I don't love the sound of that.
What does that even mean?
On my fantasy team,
I don't even know what that means.
There's other worries with Chris Carson more than just this injury, and a neck injury is nothing to take lightly ever. So, I mean, last week he did not play particularly well. He's had 2 good weeks, and then he had 2 touchdowns in a week where he went 13 for 31 against Tennessee. We've seen Alex Collins get more into the mix already. If Alex Collins has a good game today and Carson were to not play, or if Carson does play and Alex Collins were to have a good game, better game today, we could see him getting even more work. Where is your panic meter on Chris Carson?
Moderately high. If he has a neck injury that just flares up at random times, that's not good. Just in normal life situations, much less like a situation where you're a running back in the NFL getting hit by 300-pound linemen who are trying to rip your head off. Terrible. Just
not the condition,
ideal.
the long-term condition you want if that is your scenario you are in.
And I already see, looking at the splits, Alex Collins is just progressively getting more and more involved. And I see that being a real thing for Seattle. I know that they kind of like to have a kind of a down guy back there, just single use. But I think Alex Collins could be fine.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely playing him if Carson were not to go tonight.
I think you play him even if he is listed that he will play. I still think you put him in your lineup.
I think it's risky, but I do see I'm not going to say that's wild.
Because if Carson is a game time decision, then if he was legitimately fine, he wouldn't be listed as questionable right now. He'd be listed as good to go. He's about to rush it for 100 yards. But no, he's listed as questionable.
There's guys that go in as questionable with more optimism than I think this situation entails. Yeah. I think we're going in when your coach is saying things like this about as to why you are a game time decision, not necessarily he's nicked up, but he should be good to go. Pat on the back that we typically get.
His coach threw him under the bus by saying his neck is super weak. Come snap it.
It's weird because I don't want to say this in a mean way. I don't think it's meant as a mean thing. I think it's meant as a compliment. But Chris Carson's got a fat neck, a very good, quality, bigger, stronger neck.
Yeah, no, he's got a short man neck right there for sure.
A bulky one.
Right. Alex Collins.
How's his neck?
Well, he's got a beard and some dreads, so it kind of gets covered down there. But he has a decent neck too.
Okay.
Yeah. Someone who also has a nice neck, DK Metcalf. I think it could be a bounce back game for him this game. I think it's going to be.
He had a good week last week.
Right, but just to continue to shine. You know what I'm saying? Just be more involved, get more of the targets that receive or catch more of the targets thrown his way. It's going to be a game where Rams are obviously love to shoot it. Henderson's coming back from an injury, so they're probably just going to shoot it some more. Cooper Kupp's on pace for a 2,000-yard season, so I think they're going to try to help him do that. I could just see DK and Lockett getting more involved. I like it.
I'm not I think a lot of people are like that and agree. I, for some reason, just have a feeling that this is going to be a lot lower scoring game than we expect.
Okay.
On a short week, divisional matchup, I feel like divisional matchups normally get a lot tougher. Rams defense that just got shellacked by the Cardinals. I think they're going to be a little bit more stout. I just think it's going to be a lot lower scoring game than we expect.
Mm-hmm.
And also with DK likely drawing the Ramsey matchup, You're starting him. You're starting him. You're starting Lockett. You're starting Kupp. You're starting Henderson. But I think it's going to be lower scoring than we expect. And
over under 54?
Yeah, I would say definitely under that for me. My expectation.
I would take the under. I still think that both quarterbacks throw for 300 yards, though.
Interesting.
So I see DK. I mean, yeah, he has the Ramsey matchup, but I don't know.
I think this is going to be.
It's going to be a tough game, but I think he might come out and try to prove it. Like,
I expect this to be a big Henderson game. The Seahawks are not good against the run. We've talked about that extensively, about how many fantasy points they have given up to opposing running backs.
Right.
So I expect this to be a big Darrell Henderson game. I'm not sure how I really feel. Like, I think Cooper Kupp will get his. I think Robbie Woods could get involved here. I feel fine about the Seattle pass catchers. Like I said, you're starting them, but I think it's going to be a lot more of a gritty game than the over-under would suggest.
I'm with you on that one. I still think you're starting all the big name guys.
Yeah.
I might start Van Jefferson over Robert Woods, though. Might do it.
Interesting. I know. I think that's it's gotten to the point where you can do that reasonably. I do trust and I shouldn't, because Sean McVay has said a lot of stuff in the past, earlier in the season, that he said he was going to use all three running backs, and that has not really happened. He says that he wants to get Robert Woods more involved. I kind of believe that. And if you're not going to take a chance on that against Seattle, then I don't know when you are. Right. So this is really a big game. If Robert Woods can't come back in this game, then I think it's officially
right.
He's just on your bench all the time.
Right. Every week. I mean, he gets the looks. I mean, he's out targeting Jefferson, but he just isn't securing it. Like, he's not utilizing the targets as well as he should.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting game tonight. It's going to be a decent Thursday night football.
I think it should be a good Thursday night football game, kind of rugged. It's going to be nice. Nice to see.
So let's get into our Sunday matchups.
Sunday fun day.
This thing is taking forever. Jets and Falcons are our first matchup. Words look correct. So we are back on track, Cody.
Yeah, I think I spelled most things right.
Besides the things you spelled wrong, which is all you can ask for.
Right, honestly.
The Jets, I think the hardest part of doing this show every week is trying to think of something to talk about with the Jets.
So I put down 3 things for the Jets. It was hard. It was
loaded.
Hard. Yeah, I mean, I come prepared. I said Corey Davis and Jamison Crowder they should be the two Jets you start this week. I don't think you start any of the running backs for the Jets just because they've looked very lackluster this year. The third thing I put was Zach Wilson, 38 question marks behind his name. The dude can't throw. Cannot do. All right.
You trash rookie quarterbacks, harsher than anyone.
As I should. Someone has to.
No, I don't think you should. Have you watched the Jets game?
I have watched Jets game, and this is why I can say it. It was maybe you just want to cry watching this game. But he's thrown 4 touchdowns, 8 picks. It's hard to win a game if you're throwing the ball away.
It's hard to win a game if you're on the New York Jets.
That is also true, but you just got to do your part. Just because you're on the Jets doesn't mean you can suck.
You watch. Well, that explains it to me. I don't know. You may have the Jets on while you're doing something else. Maybe I don't know, trying to build a nice coffee table. But I don't think you're watching the Jets and watching this offensive line. Zach Wilson is just running for his life.
I'm trying to find it. Hold on. I'm going to pull up all the Zach Wilson love that you just have right here.
I don't have a lot of Zach Wilson love.
Zach Wilson.
There's not a ton. I mean, that throw to Corey Davis was awesome. But, like, let's not say that Zach Wilson just can't throw. I don't know if that's true. Because if you see that play, you know that he can make something happen. I think the Jets' offense is just, I don't know. One, it's hard to do anything when you can't block. And two, I don't think they're calling, like, the things that you can do when you can't block are very particular, and I don't think they're making the best use of those calls in, like, the quick passing game. And
quick passes, run the ball. That'd be cool. Maybe run it not with your quarterback so he can actually think straight. Maybe run it with the running backs that you pay. You got 5 of them on your roster. Like, utilize
many of them.
Pay a lot of people. Like, give them the ball. Run it, short pass games, play action. Like, that's how you succeed with a subpar O-line. And they're not putting him in position, and he's not putting himself in position to be like, Coach, you're retarded. Let me do it.
We definitely can't say that.
Sorry, Coach. Fix yourself.
Okay, there we go. That's a lot better. I don't feel great about Jamison Crowder. I don't know. I just I get it, but it reminds me a lot of like Renfro with less with less certainty, because we haven't seen. I mean, we've seen it in the past, but in this offense, we haven't seen several weeks of consistency of him being able to do that and him being able to give you a floor. I don't think there's much upside.
Well, this was his first game back. Jamison Crowder's played 1 game, 7 receptions, 9 targets.
Yep. I just don't know if he delivers that consistently. And
I think he does in a team that should never be up in a football game. They're just not poised to win. So they're going to have to pass.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if the coaching staff comes together and they're like, short passes, run the ball, play action, I think that flows right into Jamison Crowder's strong suit very nicely. Just quick slant, get open, little hitch on a backside play action. I think that's great. Just something small and short, because his average depth is 8.7 yards of reception. Very small, or not very small, but compared to everyone else on the team who's 16, 10, 24, he's nice and close to the quarterback.
I think Elijah Moore coming back is going to temper some of those. I think he's going to be involved just as a rookie, especially in this offense that's maybe not we need to win right now, but we need to get these guys ready. I like Jamison Crowder as a potential option down the road. I'm just kind of tempering my expectations on him now until we see more. I do like Corey Davis just because, like you said, who else is going to get the ball? I kind of like Michael Carter in deeper leagues if you need to play him if you're in a situation where I don't think you're pumped to play him, but I think you can go out and against the Falcons team that we know is not that good, hope that he gets in the end zone. I think it's very much a possibility, and catch some passes as well.
Right, but Michael Carter is not someone. He shouldn't be if he's your running back 2.
You should just
trouble.
give up. You should just be really sad and say, you know what, I tried my best, but this is just not going to work out for me.
He gets you 31 yards a game, and he has 6 catches on the year. So very, very small.
The Jets' running game may actually be better in this game because they may be up. As I have just gotten 2 reports right now.
Nice.
Calvin Ridley will not make the trip to London. This game is in London, by the way.
Yeah.
Due to a personal matter. And Russell Gage, their number 2 wide receiver, is also not traveling to London because of an ankle injury. So,
Kondo, I just want to stop you right there real quick. Cordell Patterson is actually the second wide receiver on this team. First running back, second wide receiver. Sorry for the mix-up.
well, out of wide receivers that can have the wide receiver name next to him in fantasy, those guys will not be there. I think that means if Kyle Pitts does not perform this week, it is panic time, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's averaging just shy of 50 yards a game. Kind of good for a tight end, but on a team that is constantly down and constantly needs to throw the ball, it's not incredibly
It's just not living up to the
encouraging.
expectations of the monster expectations that were set.
I thought Kyle Pitts coming in the year was going to have this crazy good year. I mean, Julio's gone. Who else are you going to throw to? I was like, big new tight end, fresh. I think he's going to be great. And he just hasn't really been doing it this year. This game could be really tough now I think it's a big game for Cordell Patterson. But besides that, I don't know if Kyle Pitts gets much. And
I mean, you were going to start Pitts regardless.
You're starting if you have Pitts.
I think, but this makes you feel a little bit better. Have definitely some more optimism for him. Would you, if he does have a monster game this week, are you looking to trade him after, or you have confidence in Kyle Pitts kind of growing as the season goes along?
I think if you still have Kyle Pitts as your starting tight end, after everything, I don't think you're gonna get rid of him. If he's your starting tight end, I don't think you listen to the show.
I don't know. I would say that
we list a lot of people who are above Kyle Pitts. He's 19th as far as the tight end goes, and I mean that puts him outside the starting RB.
I'm starting him every week if I had him. I wouldn't feel great about it, but you don't have Fant. You don't have. There's still not many guys that I'm putting in my lineup before him.
It's just tough. If he has a good week, then congratulations. He might get to tight end 15.
Okay, I don't think he's going to stay at tight end 15.
Well, he's at tight end 19 right now. So
I don't think he's going to stay at tight end 19 either.
That's why I said 15.
I don't think he's making it to – I think he's going to be a starting tight end by the end of the year. I don't know how high on that top 12 that would make him a top 12 and what we go off of, which is basically PPR, half-point PPR, whatever format you want, but 12-team league is our standard league.
Right.
So I think he's going to be a top 12 tight end.
I won't do the name game. I won't do the name game with you just because I already know how you feel about the people around him. But
let's do a name game then.
All right.
Toss them out. We'll do it quick.
So Jared Cook is 12. You taking Jared Cook from the Chargers, or are you taking Pitts?
I think that's close. I'm probably doing Pitts, but not by much. Just upside, obviously.
That's tough. All right. Arizona. All right, this guy's questionable, so I'll have to skip him. But Max Williams is questionable.
Max Williams, I will do Kyle Pitts for the rest of the season. I will do Kyle Pitts 100%.
Okay. Tyler Conklin is 14th.
I mean, it's a tough one.
I mean,
it's really
Tyler
tough.
Conklin has finished as number one tight end in a week before. Kyle Pitts has not. But, I'll let you.
But he also does not have some of the glute fears. I don't have as many fears about Kyle Pitts' glutes as I do about Tyler Conklin.
Right. You might not have fear of Kyle Pitts' glutes like you would with Conklin, but I have no doubts in Tyler Conklin's hands, whereas I do in Kyle Pitts, who dropped 5 of 9 targets throwing.
I don't know. He dropped 5 of 9 targets. So let's not say that. He may not have caught them, but that doesn't mean he dropped them. They may not have been on target.
Effort plays are a real thing, and I just don't. Matt Ryan's not this super
No, I think that's the thing that scares me about Pitts.
Matt Ryan can give you the ball where you need the ball thrown, and Kyle Pitts is not utilizing this. Whereas Kirk Cousins is not as accurate. I don't think anyone would be like Kirk Cousins is as accurate.
I would disagree.
Matt Ryan has a beautiful ball. Like that is it's close to where it's got to be. And
not this year. It does not look good this year for Matt Ryan.
This year it's been a little bit rougher, but you know how good Matt Ryan is. You know he puts the ball where it's got to be. I just think that the fact that Kyle Pitts is struggling as much as he is a little discouraging.
And we also seem like they've been like bracket coveraging. Like the teams have been going into weeks trying to stop Kyle Pitts, which is kind of crazy also. But I think against the Jets, I think we both agree that this should be the week, if there is a week.
If there's a week and Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage are not there, this is going to be a big Mike Davis, Cordell Patterson, and Kyle Pitts day.
Yeah,
like, the three of them together should have a nice game.
Agreed. Next one on the docket is Eagles versus the Panthers. Panthers 3.5-point favorites here. Just picked up Stephon Gilmore, which brings me to...
He won't play until week 6.
Really?
He won't play this week. He will play next week against the Vikings, potentially, because he's dealing with something.
Gotcha. He was dealing with an injury to start the year. My first question is kind of in reference to this running back situation. And we did hear an interesting quote out of one of the beat writers in Philly saying that this could turn into a timeshare situation very quickly if Miles Sanders is to not step up his game. So does that worry you at all? Obviously, this is coming from a beat writer, not somebody inside the team necessarily, but we've seen these Kenneth Gainwell games and Miles Sanders struggle over the last couple of weeks. And now I don't feel comfortable saying that because the week before he just didn't get touches, but he was awesome. So what are your thoughts on this backfield? Do you think that this will turn into more of a timeshare situation, or are you still starting Miles Sanders like fairly confidently?
I'm not confident in either. Like, obviously week 1, they both had a great game. But then weeks 2 and 3 both struggled mightily. And week 4, Kenneth Gainwell showed, hey, I can do things. Give me the ball. So I kind of like Gainwell, but it's tough. Like, it's a tough call. I like Gainwell more than Sanders. If it's a committee, I think that Gainwell outperforms Sanders rest of the year. If it turns into like a true committee, then I think Sanders just loses a lot more of his fantasy relevance than he would if he was able to pull it together. Carolina's got a tough defense, though.
Yeah, I'm not feeling great about either of them this week, although we did see Carolina get gashed last week by Denver, or not by Denver, by Dallas.
Right.
So it gives a little bit more optimism. I'm starting Miles Sanders if I have him because you have to. Unless you drafted I don't know what situation you would be in where you don't have to start Miles Sanders if you have a first round running back like Eckler, CEH, and then you drafted Henderson and Miles Sanders or something like that, in the middle rounds. I guess if you're loaded, but I don't think many people have that team. So I'm starting Miles Sanders. I'm not starting Gainwell yet, but I'm definitely monitoring the situation because I think there could be a time later in the season where this comes back to bite me if I am not to keep an eye on it and maybe sell high on Sanders if it is possible. But then again, running back's so steep right now, I don't know what you're getting back for Miles Sanders, even if he does have a monster week.
If he has a monster week,
I'm not sure what you're getting. Like, I don't think.
If he has a monster week against Carolina, though, I think that speaks a little bit. But I'm with you. I don't think you should be going out trying to trade for Miles Sanders. I don't think you should I don't think you want him on your starting roster.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's wrong.
I don't think you feel great about it right now, but he is probably a starter if you have him.
You feel good about Jalen Hurts, though.
I feel fine, like great about Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is having a great sophomore season.
Yeah, I'm definitely just the floor there with his running ability is something that I think you can't really deny. Like, he could have a bad game, and he has had bad games and still get you 20 points. And that's kind of what you want out of your starting quarterback.
He hasn't got anyone over 30, but he hasn't got anyone under 20. That's perfect for a quarterback.
Mm-hmm. As for Carolina, obviously, I feel like most of the talk is going to be the CMC situation, but there's not really much to talk about. You're starting CMC if he plays, and you're starting Chuba if he doesn't. At least I am. I don't know if you are, because you said
I don't like Chuba this year. Like him as a person. Don't like him as a starter.
Do you like Chuba as a person?
I do.
Not that you would dislike Chuba as a person, but do you like him as a person?
I like him as a person. Got a great name. Just beautiful name. CH, my initials are CH, so, two of a kind here.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like a fantasy viable option, I don't love Chuba. If CMC plays,
obviously, if CMC
plays, and obviously you don't start Chuba, even if CMC is ruled out, I don't love him.
Really? I mean, I wouldn't say love, but like
it's the Eagles' defense, though. Like, Eagles have a pretty good run defense, so you want to put a guy who
do they?
They've been decent this year.
They gave up. I mean, Zeke had a good week against them. I guess you could say that is Zeke, but Zeke is also washed up. So I don't know if that's.
I mean, they kind of shut down, Mike Davis and Cordell Patterson. Patterson, even though you don't like him, third best running back in the year this year. They shut down all 28 of the San Francisco running backs. I mean, they didn't stop Zeke, and they kind of stopped CEH, but not really.
Didn't CEH have 100 yards on 14 carries?
Yeah, I said kind of.
I don't know if that's kind of. No, ever since I think the Brandon Graham injury has definitely affected them. Right. They are 31st against the run.
See, pretty good.
But
I think
Chuba's a top 30 running back. So I think you're playing him.
I just don't. I think that they're able to pull it together. Because I put Chuba in the same category as I would, like, San Francisco or Mike Davis. Like, I wouldn't put him in the Zeke or, like, Pollard.
I would put him ahead of.
I want it.
Definitely ahead of anybody in San Francisco for sure.
Right, but I don't know if he's above everyone in San Francisco.
I'd say so.
That's tough.
I just don't know how it works out. But we got to move on to another person I want to mention in this game quickly. I think Sam Darnold is a streaming option if you need one.
Wait, streaming? We did this terminology test last week.
I think we did it earlier this week.
We did. Streaming means you only start him week to week by matchup.
Correct.
You would not just leave Sam Darnold in.
No.
You wouldn't leave in the fifth best quarterback.
Nope.
Okay, that's wrong.
Do you think Sam Darnold's going to stay the fifth best quarterback?
He'd be a starting caliber quarterback. I don't think he finishes as fifth just because I think Lamar and Russell come up a little bit. Same with Josh Allen. But I think Jalen Hurts moved out of the top 5. I think Sam Darnold moves into around 8 to 10. I see that.
So you see Sam Darnold being a starting quarterback the rest of the way?
I see Sam Darnold finishing as a starting quarterback rest of the season.
Okay, I do not see that. We could put a bet on that right now.
I mean, he has CMC to throw to, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. And, I think that's fine. Like, I think and your new love of your life, Tommy Tremble, who you said is going to be a top 5.
I said last week, he was my bold prediction to be a top 12 tight end. Speculative ad. You're taking a risk.
Right. So you said you loved him. I think he has. I mean, he has almost 1,200 pass yards, 300 plus a game. He does give you that leg mobility. I mean, obviously the O line's not that good. Gave up 11 sacks so far. If we're gonna bail out Zach Wilson, we have to bail out Sam Darnold.
Well, how many sacks does Zach Wilson? How many pressures does Zach Wilson have?
Pressures, no idea. 16 sacks on the season.
It's a little bit more.
For Wilson, Sam Darnold has 11, but Sam Darnold also just took the ground. He also just runs forward more. He has 2.6 yards per rush. So, like, obviously, he just gets hit right around the line trying to keep it from being a sack. So the sack numbers could just be kind of deflated.
He also has 6 rushing touchdowns.
Hey, can't beat perfection, baby.
Leads the league.
He has 5 rushing touchdowns.
5. Leads the league.
And 5 passing touchdowns.
You like the symmetry there, for sure.
Oh, I do.
But Sam Darnold, good start this week. We got to move on.
Yep.
Patriots versus Texans.
Oh, no, Patriots.
Patriots 8.5-point favorites. I feel like against anybody, Patriots just aren't like that explosive of an offensive team. That's like weird to see them as that much of a favorite against anybody. But if it was going to be against anybody, I suppose it would be the Texans. First person with the Texans, only person with the Texans, probably going to talk about for fantasy purposes, is Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks had a weird week last week. I'm nervous about him this week. I've brought it up on the show a couple times. Belichick, always just really good about taking away your number one option and like what you want to do. Makes it pretty easy to do when you really have like one option, and that is Brandon Cooks. Also Belichick probably knows a little bit about Brandon Cooks. He was on the Patriots.
Exactly.
I'm worried about him this week. If you have an option to replace him, I know that's going to be hard. I might look to do that if I don't have to start him this week, but you're probably going to have to start him, and I would just put him more in your flex category as far as like your expectations on him this week, rather than expecting a wide receiver 2 like week or a wide receiver 1 like week that we had from him in the first 3 weeks of the season.
Right. I mean, New England's like 4th against the pass this year. They're doing pretty good. It could be a real tough week for Brandon Cooks, especially with a third-string quarterback throwing you the football. Not ideal, especially going into New England. It's going to be a rough week, but I still think he is the only Houston that you start this week.
Yes, agreed. Only Houston that you should consider starting.
Right.
As far as New England goes, I think we're in agreement that you start Damian Harris.
I said Harris and Jacoby Myers. Those are the 2 guys that I'm starting confidently.
I feel in PPR, I'm definitely starting Jacoby Myers, full point and half point. I'm thinking about it. I think that he's a guy that, like, if you are looking for a safe option to put in your lineup, really just not mess it up for you. Like, you need just a consistent, like, 10 points, safe floor. He is your guy there. I don't think you're really risking it with any of the other pass rushers or pass catchers. Definitely not risking it with the pass rushers.
No.
Because I don't think you need them. Although, if you want to start a defense this week, New England defense would probably be among the top. I just wouldn't. I feel like there's other high potential, like boom bust guys on better offenses that I would rather risk than the Patriots pass catchers.
So would you have Van Jefferson or Kendrick Bourne?
That's a good question.
I think I might go Van Jefferson. But
I think that's like
it's a tough one though.
that's very tough. I would probably be with you though.
Right. I mean, obviously, Nelson Aguilar, probably around the same as Bourne, I'm guessing for you, as Van Jefferson. All right.
Yeah, I'm probably taking Van Jefferson just because I think they will probably score more points through the air and have more explosive plays than the Patriots will have.
Yeah, I'm with you. Patriots seem to be, I mean, rookie quarterback.
Kind of tempering things.
Yeah, I don't think they're going
to
they're not going to, and they don't need to this week. Like, you don't need to go crazy. And I think Bill Belichick knows that. Like, this is a good week just to go out there, play okay, get a win, and, like, get the wheels moving back towards the right direction here.
Speaking about wheels moving in the wrong direction, Lions and Vikings. Both teams not necessarily where they want to be, I think is pretty safe to say.
All right.
Maybe it was a little bit of a curse on the Lions because I did put money on them. Although they were my only team to lose last week. I had a good week last week. This is not the time or place to brag about that, though.
I don't think it is. I think that's a little distasteful for fans here to talk about your gambling addiction.
But not an addiction. If you have an addiction, seek somebody. There's a phone number to call, I think.
I don't know it. Don't care.
Well, yeah, I don't know it offhand. Although maybe I should.
You probably should.
So, obviously you're feeling pretty good about this Minnesota offense. Really, everybody, including a quarterback that you've been talking very highly of for the year, in Kirk Cousins.
Right. Love me.
What was that?
I love me some Kirk. Not on my team, but for fantasy.
Yeah, I mean he's been great so far. Where did you say that he was? Like QB6, QB5?
He was QB4 till last week's snooze fest, in which he dropped down to QB12.
Oh no!
It was a terrible week.
I expect bounce back week though. Good week for the Vikings. You're starting Thielen. You're starting Jefferson. You're starting even Dalvin. If he is to play, which I think the expectation very much is that
Dalvin's projected for points, so that's a good indication because the week he missed,
Mike Clay knows.
Yeah, Mike Clay knows, and I already told him that Dalvin's going to play, so we're good to go.
As for the Lions, not really feeling great about anybody. I know TJ Hockenson has had a rough couple of weeks, but you're still starting him, right? Like I still would say that he's one of the tight ends I am the most confident in fantasy right now.
Yeah, I mean Hockenson is a good guy. He was held out of practice though with a knee injury, so that's a little worrying. Swift and Williams are also both. They were both a little
limited groin injuries. They had, I believe, both of them had some limited.
They were both limited participation
last week as well.
Swift with the groin, Williams with the hip. Same parts of the body.
It's close.
Yeah, I mean, one could hurt the other. So, use that information as you will. The fact that Jared Goff has 1,100 pass yards on this team, unreal. Like, Jared Goff needs, like, a lot more respect on his name.
I don't know.
Who's he got to throw to out here?
Yeah.
Khalif Raymond. That's their number one wide receiver. Come on.
I mean, you have to throw, regardless of who's on your team when you're on the Lions. But I feel good about Hockenson. I feel good about Swift. I'm not starting. Maybe. Are you starting Jamal Williams? We're playing against the Vikings, and I think we could both agree. Although last week was a tough defensive matchup, the Vikings are not the best defensive team.
I beg to differ. They held the Browns to 14 points. I think it was a bad offensive game that kind of limited them. I mean, Browns' offense is not
okay, but that's what I said. Besides that game, their defense has not been very good.
No, but I feel like it's a good indication when you can stop a good offense. I think it's a good progress going.
So, are you starting Jamal Williams?
I kind of want to start Jamal over Swift.
That's okay. Explain.
Well, I mean, Swift, for PPR purposes, gets a lot more targets. Just insane more.
He did last week. I don't know if
I
it's
think he
on the
gets
year.
on the year. Williams has 14 targets. Swift has 29. So literally over double. But Williams is the more efficient runner, though. They have 42 carries for 187 yards. Swift has 41 carries, 139 yards. If it's PPR, I like Swift. If it's half point, I like Williams. I think Williams getting you 4.5 yards a carry could be good. But against the Vikings, maybe if they play like the defense did last week, it's going to be a little bit tougher. But I think I might go Williams over Swift.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't hate I like your argument. I think that is a very good argument. I'm still going Swift, but like I think that's a very convincing case.
I don't hate it if you go Swift, but I'm like, if I had both of them on my team somehow, I'd put Williams in before I put Swift in.
Okay. Next game is Saints versus the football team.
Jesus.
This is going to be an interesting one. I think Terry is like my favorite of the options here. Curtis Samuel is hurt. He's dealing with some injury stuff. He may play, but we saw that he did not play as big of a role as some may have feared. I think that he is their pass catcher now, especially with Logan Thomas gone. I think he's going to get peppered with targets.
Exactly.
I think the Saints are going to do a lot to try to shut him down. So that's the one thing you're worried about. But just with all of those injuries, even with the Gibson limitations, I'm geared up for a Terry McLaurin like big target game, like a big opportunity to have a good game.
Mm-hmm.
Whether the Saints will shut that down and he'll have like 12 targets for 3 catches that's very much a possibility. But I think the opportunity is going to be there for him to have a huge game.
Right. I don't know. Scary Terry, as his name indicates, he's scary. It's a scary option to have. You can interpret it as scary good or scary bad. But just the fact that, like,
you are a scary Terry hater, I would say.
I'm more skeptical about Scary Terry than I love him.
So you're not a hater, you're just skeptical.
Right. Like, I think he's good. I said that. I just don't like the fact that they have no one else to throw to. I don't think he's the talent of some other guys who can make it work in years past. Like Michael Thomas can make it work.
I think he's one of the most talented wide receivers in football.
All right, you better put that up. Scary Terry and Michael Thomas are now equal for Ryan Condell. I don't know.
I think they were kind of entering different points of their careers, but like I think Terry McLaurin is one of the most underrated talents in football. I think people give a lot of those younger receivers like an A.J. Brown a lot of credit and like a Justin Jefferson a lot of credit, and I think they deserve a lot of credit. But I think Terry McLaurin is right in that same class. If not as a receiver, better.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I like Scary Terry. It's just the fact that he is, like, in the past couple of weeks, he's just missing, like, half his passes, like, thrown to him.
I mean...
So either Taylor Heineke is, like, now officially losing his connection ability, or Scary Terry is just quitting on the play.
I don't think it's...
I've seen both. Like, I've seen it look where, like, I've seen some where Taylor Heineke just looks like a backup, which he kind of is. And I've seen some where Scary Terry just did not do what he was supposed to do. So I've seen it both ways. I don't know. It's tough. I don't love Scary Terry. I think this is a good matchup for him. Saints are pretty easy against the pass, or like in the 20s, I believe, something like that. I'm sure you know the number. You're smart.
Yeah, not off the top of my head. But, yeah, I mean, I like him this week. You think that he's quitting on the plays.
I mean, if I'm not saying quits on every play, but I'm not saying that you can blame Taylor Heineke for him missing a third of the passes here. Like, you can't blame the quarterback all the time. At some point, you have to realize
Zach Wilson, 38 exclamation points.
No, question marks is what I said. Still haven't pulled up.
I think did you say question marks? I think you may have said exclamation points.
No, question marks is what I said.
Can we get somebody to roll that back? And that somebody would probably be me.
It's going to be you, and you're going to look at it and be like, oh, shit, he did say question marks. Now I have to buy him a chicken bacon ranch pizza.
I'm not doing that. I would do anything to avoid that.
Do it for the fans.
No. As for the Saints, Alvin Kamara, that's about it. I don't think we even have to spend much time on that, do we?
Just Kamara.
Yep. Titans Jags, our last game of the day today. We don't really know. Titans, still, we don't really know what's going on. We don't know if Julio is going to be back. We don't know if AJ is going to be back. It looks like AJ is going to be back. You would just expect with a limited participation on Wednesday.
Right.
That kind of projects for him to be back, but it's hard to really tell what's going to happen with this team at this point. Besides, Derrick Henry is going to go off because it's the Jacksonville Jaguars and they should steamroll them.
Right. Jacksonville's defense rarely, if ever, should ever be played, but especially against Derrick Henry, who just bulldozes grown men for a living. It's going to be a great game for Derrick. I would sit Tannehill, find someone to stream this week. A.J. Brown, I don't even know if I'd put him in my lineup this week.
If he plays, you're not starting A.J. Brown.
It depends on who my other receivers are, but if I can afford to sit him for another week.
Are you starting an A.J. or Odell?
Odell. Give me the number one. Give me the number one guy in a Browns offense. Give me that.
Over the number one guy in the Titans offense.
A banged up number one guy. If he was fully healthy, this wouldn't be a discussion. Okay. Then I'd pick Brown. But the fact that he's limited and is coming back, then no.
What about a guy maybe on the other side of the ball that could have an increased opportunity? He had a good Thursday night last week, Laviska Shenault.
Oh, no.
Okay. That's,
no.
I think, a fair answer.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it for Shenault. I do it for Marvin Jones, in a heartbeat. I think Marvin Jones just not quite the upside, but I think just the floor, the fact that the Jags are probably going to be down and going to have to pass.
Mm.
If the Titans go down, they could still run the ball with Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry can pull off a 99-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, I'm starting Marvin Jones this week. I'm considering Laviska, depending on your situation. James Robinson, obviously you're starting.
Yep.
I feel pretty decent about it. I'm not sure I can pull that up right now as far as Carlos Hyde's status, but I don't think it really matters too much. Carlos Hyde is healthy. He's healthy. Had a full practice on Wednesday, so I'm still feeling very confident about James Robinson and putting together a good week. I think Jags are going to score. I think this is going to be a closer game than a lot of people expect. But
Jags +4, I think that's fair. Titans should win by a touchdown. Just is what it is. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is. I don't know. I'm not going to root for Tennessee this week just because they, lost to the Jets last week. So anything could happen. Maybe the Titans just want to let all the rookie quarterbacks just run all over them this week or this year.
It could be a theme.
Who knows? I mean, Zach Wilson could win, so maybe Trevor Lawrence can too.
The Jags also seem a little preoccupied. They got some other stuff going on. Their hands in places they shouldn't be.
Nothing wrong with a little dancing.
Well, yeah, I guess. And in that context, simply put, that is true. But maybe there is some things wrong with. I think this is the situation where context matters.
I don't know.
The context could matter. His wife was not happy. He did make that known.
Are wives ever really happy though?
I don't think when you're shoving your fingers places, but
I don't know. We're just gonna have to take someone's word on it.
I guess so. Yeah, we may not be, as people just not wives. We may not be able to answer that question.
Right.
Second take extra. Pick Pitts or Schultz. Who to start? I'm starting Pitts. I imagine you are going to go the opposite.
Who do they play?
Dallas?
I'm trying to remember who
Dallas plays the Giants.
Oh, I gotta go with Schultz. I mean,
I would go Schultz if not everyone was out for the Falcons, to be clear.
Yeah, I just think that Schultz could probably catch a touchdown or two. I just see Pitts might getting a lot of looks, but I don't know. I just don't have faith that the Falcons are going to get inside scoring distance to, give Pitts an easy touchdown.
Interesting. I feel like there's just no competition for Pitts at this point.
There's no competition this week for him, but I'm not loving it.
Hollywood Brown or Lockett in full point PPR?
Ooh.
That is a good question. I think Lockett could have a game tonight just with the Ramsey matchup. I feel like he could be the primary guy, but who do the Ravens play this week is going to be a big indication of where I go with that. They play the Colts. I think that's going to be a pretty low scoring game. As I mentioned, I think the Rams Seahawks isn't going to be as high scoring as expected, but I expect there to be a few more points in that one than the Rams Colts game or than the Ravens Colts game.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, I'm going to go Lockett.
So you're going Lockett? I don't want to argue with you.
Are we splitting again?
Well, I'm about to look. I'm looking at Tyler Lockett. He said PPR.
Mm-hmm.
So Marquise has 28 targets on the season, and Lockett only has 25. The past 2 weeks, Tyler Lockett's looked like I expected Tyler Lockett to look. Week 1 and 2, he looked magnificent. 100-yard games, just looking good. I might go Brown. I think I have to go Brown here.
I don't think it's a bad call. I think you're if you're in this situation, it's a pretty good call to have to make. I don't think it's either one's going to be a terrible decision. I just think for me, my logic wasn't on the players as much as how many points I expect to be scored in each game, and I expect more in the game tonight than the Ravens and Colts game, and then I guess the Ramsey matchup as well. For Metcalf.
I mean, yeah, Metcalf will probably draw Ramsey, but who knows? The way DK's been playing.
Pitts or Conklin rest of the season. This one obviously is not for me.
Conklin.
Okay. Latavius Murray or Melvin Gordon in PPR? I'm going Melvin Gordon
Melvin Gordon. Exactly. I agree.
Galladay, Hunt, or playoff Lenny in PPR? Give me Hunt. I think
Kareem Hunt.
You have to go Hunt.
I like Kareem Hunt in this one too.
I would trade sell high on Leonard Fournette as well. I just don't think the Patriots are the Bucs are going to be running the ball that much in many games this year. I would
Don't think so. I mean, you said Tommy's going for records this year, so
Oh yeah.
just the fact that he's doing that might be a hard indication.
And I know because I know a guy who owns every NFL franchise. So.
That is incredible. You should utilize that friendship to the fullest.
I think I do. That, barring any more questions, I think that is it for us today. In one of our quickest shows that we've done in a very long time.
Only an hour 15. Tomorrow will be a 2-hour episode. Oh
yeah. So make sure to tune into that film. Okay. One more question from the Second Take Extra. We always have time for you. Also, I got one more. Corey Davis, Dawson Knox, OBJ, Devontae Smith, and Melvin Gordon start 3.
I'll let you go first, and then I'll say mine.
Oh, thanks. It's tough. I got to think about the matchups here on the fly. Melvin Gordon, he does play against Pittsburgh. Makes it a little bit of a tougher call. Is this full PPR, I imagine? I imagine this is the same league. I got to go Devontae in that case. I'm probably going... my goodness. Devontae, Gordon, and Knox. I don't feel great about it.
Oh God, that's rough. All right. So mine's a little different. I am starting Smith. Devontae. I love him. I gotta go Corey Davis.
It was between Corey Davis and Knox for me, so
I have to go Corey Davis. And I think I'm going to go Knox. I think I'm going to leave Melvin Gordon out and put Davis in over him. If it's full PPR, I think Corey Davis has that upside. I don't know.
It's fair. I like Corey Davis this week as well.
I think it's a good matchup this week.
Yeah. Just hope that the London time doesn't throw him off because
Yeah, it could. Some people just don't do well over there. So.
But I will go on my that's it for us today rant. And if any other questions come up, we will answer them. That is it for us today. Thank you guys for listening. And we will be back tomorrow to break down the rest of the Sunday slate.
Woo!
Enjoy football tonight.
Enjoy.
It's going to be a great game.
Oh, yeah. Drink up.
Or don't. Whatever your choice is, we respect it.
Yeah.